Hello there, White Sox fans. I don't have to ask how everybody's doing because if you saw Sunday's game, you're doing pretty well. White Sox got off to overall a great start on the year, and it's very easy to look at the season opener and think like, oh gosh, what a terrible game that was, and it definitely didn't end well. But you can also take a look at it and say Detroit won on a fluky play, and they were lucky to escape with a single win on their home turf. So the White Sox really are off to a good start against their main Central Division rival. That is really excellent to see. This video is about the Pick-2-Click contest. Now, I know a number of you were in attendance for the live stream we did before opening day, before the first pitch of opening day. I'm going to reiterate what we're going to be doing this year for the Pick-2-Click contest. And at the end of the video, I will talk about last year's Pick-2-Click contest, which obviously I owe some gifts and prizes and a loud declaration of who the top 10 finishers were. We'll get to that at the end of this video. But first, it's going to be a little bit different this year, as you saw, and as actually a number of you predicted that this is going to become a very work-intensive project for you, Scott, if you keep doing this all year long. It did become very work intensive, keeping track of so many different scores, so many different people throughout the entire season. I had so much fun doing it, but yeah, it was, and it still is continuing to be a very work and time intensive prospect. This year, we're going to go month to month instead of week to week, but we're going to do some other things to make it more fun as well. Maybe a little bit more like fantasy baseball in a very minor way, not nearly as involved for either you or I. So it should work out just fine for everyone. So this video right here is where you are going to make your Pick-2-Click for the rest of the month of April. So starting with Tuesday's game through the end of the month. So you're actually going to make 3 predictions right now. Who is going to be the top offensive performer as usual, just like we did last year? Who is going to be the top starting pitcher for the rest of this month? And then 3, who is going to hit the next home run? We will reward the top 3 best offensive players all year long. Last year, we only did the top 2 for most of the year. And we will do the top 2 starting pitchers, which right now it's going to be pretty easy. I think everybody's going to pick Cease or Kopech with the smart money bets, but there are some good dark horse options out there too. And as always, there is a point just for participating. So definitely pick all 3 of those categories and you will get that participation point. Oh yeah, and if you happen to see this video too late and first pitch has already happened on Tuesday, still make a comment of any type and that will get you your participation point. Because hey, it costs nothing to play and that gets you on the board ahead of anybody else that doesn't start playing until later in the year. That said, later in the year, the points will become more valuable each and every month. So May will be more valuable than April and so on moving forward. And then when we go into the playoffs and hopefully deep into the playoffs, we'll be doing the Pick-2-Click contest based on rounds of the playoff. But for now, just make those picks. So we're not considering Detroit for any of the stats for the categories. We are looking from Tuesday on through the rest of the month. Who will hit the next home run for the White Sox? Top offensive performer, top starting pitcher. Make your predictions right here for that. As always, when we talk about this, we talk about who maybe you shouldn't pick. Of course, Yoan Moncada will be out for, it's anticipated the rest of the month, so really don't pick him. At most, he'll get a game or 2 at the end of the month if we're lucky. There's a chance his injured list stint will bleed into May a little bit. But first things first, just don't pick Yoan right now. AJ Pollock would have been a tremendous pick because he started out of the gate so strongly with his White Sox debut. And of course, he left Saturday's game after getting another hit, but then having a very minor tweak of his hamstring. The timing, it's odd to say that there's ever a good time for an injury, but he was already scheduled to go on paternity leave after Sunday's game. So he was already anticipating missing a couple of games this coming week. Hopefully, in that same amount of time, he'll be able to recover because, again, the hamstring injury he sustained was very, very minor. He shouldn't need an injured list stint. He still is an interesting pick if anybody wants to go for him, but just know that he'll miss probably a couple of games at the beginning of this week. So let's start by talking home runs. I don't know if anybody wants to make a prediction on who's going to hit the next home run based off of who's already done some damage, because Andrew Vaughn hit 2 home runs already in the first 3 games of the season. He, of course, came in to relieve AJ Pollock when he left with injury, so he hasn't even played 3 full games, and he has 2 home runs. He is not somebody that I, so far at least, consider a streaky hitter. So just because he hit 2 home runs, does it mean he's going to continue hitting home runs? I don't really know. I don't think we can predict that yet, but he's certainly off to a good start on the season. Somebody who can hit home runs in bunches and has one under his belt already is Yasmani Grandal with that monster moonshot on Saturday. But that is the extent of the home runs hit so far this season. A lot of players are off to really great starts, and that is inflated a little bit by the fact that the White Sox won 10-1 yesterday. When looking at on-base plus slugging, Tim Anderson in just one game, 1,600 on-base plus slugging. Andrew Vaughn, 1,455. Almost 1,300 for AJ Pollock, who again will be missing some time. Mid 800s for Luis. Upper 800s for Yasmani. And somehow I think I glossed over the fact that Jose Abreu is at about 1,000 exactly. When looking at our hits leaders, just from the last 3 days, Luis has 5, Abreu 4, Pollock 4, Vaughn 4. Oh my gosh, our offense is clicking. Our offense usually comes out of the gate so slow. And that's why opening day on Friday, it made me think, oh gosh, typical White Sox. Guys are doing pretty well in Arizona, and then they come back to the cold climate, and they are cold as well. Because they scored 3 runs pretty early, but then did not add on, and it allowed the Tigers to catch up. But these guys are swinging the bat really well. Tim Anderson, 3 hits in his 1 game. Josh Harrison, I've been very impressed with. He has 3 hits, of which single, double, triple already. Eloy has 3 hits as well. So when considering your Pick-2-Click options, if AJ Pollock does miss time, who is going to pick up those at-bats? We saw immediately that Andrew Vaughn was put into a game that he was supposed to have the day off from. And I'm going to assume that Tony is going to stick with the hot bat and keep him in the lineup. However, that said, there's times where I think Vaughn will spend some time at DH while Adam Engel plays right field. So I think Vaughn was going to stay in the lineup anyway, no matter what, just because his bat is so hot right now. So this could end up resulting in more playing time for Adam Engel. Right now, Gavin Sheets is off to a tough start on the season. It's a super small sample size. Just 1 start, 4 at-bats. He went 0 for 4. But I just don't think right now you would take at-bats away from Vaughn. Looking around the infield, of course, Tim Anderson is back from his 2-game suspension. Who is going to get squeezed out of playing time now? Initially, I thought that would end up being Leury Garcia, who, of course, started the first 2 games in his place. But it was interesting to see Josh Harrison then slid over to third base, pushing Jake Berger onto the bench. So it'll be interesting to see on that front who is the person that loses out on the most playing time. Maybe it'll be a platoon type situation where Berger or Garcia will always be out. Because again, Josh Harrison has impressed me to start his White Sox tenure. When making your selection for starting pitcher, again, this is just covering this coming Tuesday, the 12th through the end of the month. You might want to avoid Lucas Giolito. He left the opening day start after 4 really solid innings with a slight muscle pull in his abdomen. It seems very, very likely it's going to require a short, hopefully just a short, injured list stint. He's expected to miss at least 2 starts. The White Sox, again, are continuing to show how shallow we are at starting pitching. But really, your options for who you want to pick for the best starter for the rest of this month includes Dylan Cease and Michael Kopech. I assume everybody's going to pick one of those 2. Vince Velasquez is kind of a dark horse candidate. You could pick him. And of course, Dallas Keuchel. He is a guy that I think is going to rebound from last year. He almost has to because his ERA was over 6. But we just don't know. I mean, if we end up with an ERA of 4.5 from him, I'd be very happy and maybe even a little bit surprised. Oh, and I always like to make my picks first. I put myself at maybe the disadvantage as I try to talk my way through. You know what? I think I have to go Dylan Cease. He is somebody that I've believed in since he joined the team. I've been so impressed with him, and he really does, to me, he seems like a different pitcher. That said, Michael Kopech did impress me on Sunday. I was really afraid that Tony left him in too long, that he might start to give up some runs, but he looked very solid all the way through, even though his pitch count was elevated. So knock on wood that he stays healthy, but he looked really strong as well. I don't know what to think of Vince Velasquez yet. I have high hopes, but not expectations. I really hope he does well. But yeah, I'll definitely go Dylan Cease for pitcher. One more rule that hopefully makes this fun and challenging is you cannot pick the same person 2 months in a row. If you decide to go Tim Anderson offense, Yasmani Grandal home run, and Dylan Cease pitcher, you cannot pick any of them for that same category next month. For offensive performer of the rest of the month, I'm going to go with Eloy. Right now, he's batting .273 with an on-base plus slugging in the upper 500s, which is pretty low. I think he's going to come out of it. I think he's going to get excited and rejuvenated by the fact that he's playing in Chicago. There are a lot of players that are outperforming him right now, but I'm going to go Eloy. And I'm going to go also Eloy for the guy to hit the next home run. I'll just go all in on Eloy and Dylan Cease. Thank you, Cubs, in both cases. Both of those guys came over in the same trade for Jose Quintana, maybe one of the best trades in White Sox history. I'm going to start doing live streams every Sunday before the first pitch. And of course, I'm immediately put up against the wall because this coming Sunday is Easter Sunday and it'll be a family day and I won't be around. So I'll probably do just some random live stream later in this week or at the beginning of the following week. We'll figure that out. We'll play it by ear. As I've done in the past, it's going to be kind of random. Whenever I can find some time, I'll just pop online. So good reason to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when that does happen. And lastly, I did say I was going to talk about the 2021 Pick-2-Click contest. I have all of your data. I have all the information. I need to compile it. I'm not going to go and put out those videos I was doing in the past where I summed up each and every week. That's just adding more time, which is delaying me getting to rewarding all of you. So I'm going to do all of that compiling and data nonsense in the background off camera, and I'm going to come up with a time to do a special live stream where I will announce the winners of that contest. Thank you all for your patience. It will pay off. If you guys win, you will know about it. But you know, baseball is happening. How fun is that? And how great is it just to see these guys having fun, running the bases, and running past Joe McEwing as they come in to slide across home plate over and over and over again against the Tigers. That was a good weekend. Hope everybody's doing well. Play ball and go Sox.